I'm saying it to protect you, son. And I think people get love mixed up with it being so cute, cuddly, and friendly. No, as your father, my job is to protect you. I think a lot of times these kids nowadays, they don't fear the consequences. And those consequences will get you either killed or locked up.
Instead of having $100,000, $1 million, $2 million checks because an officer did you wrong, you now have a dead son or a dead daughter.
Assets pay for your living. You don't pay for it. Your assets pay for it. If I got a laundromat, the laundromat's paying for the house.
Yeah. Are you strong enough to expend the energy that your kids require in order to be present?
You are now listening to the Dee Hankins Show. Life, curveballs, home runs. The Dee Hankins Show. Are you ready? Let's go. Let's go.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Dee Hankins Show. Today is all about fathers. Father's Day just passed a few weeks ago by the time that we are showing this. And so big shout out to all the fathers out there. And I wanted to shoot an episode that talked about the responsibility of fathers in taking full responsibility for their life, what that means, especially if you're in not I'm gonna say in charge, but especially if you have the responsibility of raising children, maybe you have a wife or a girlfriend or a husband or things like that. And so when we talk about, if this is your first time with me, I talk about the core four and the 3-bucket philosophy. The 3-bucket philosophy is how to sort life so that you can take full responsibility for your own. Bucket number 1 is my choices. Bucket number 2 is others' choices. Bucket number 3 is natural disasters and acts of God. Where you have full control and absolute responsibility in bucket number 1. That's the only bucket in where you have 100% authority and 100% control. In bucket number 2, others' choices, 0% control, but you do have influence. And in bucket number 3, you have 0% control, 0% authority. It's the bucket of absolute zeros. And in what are we protecting? What I call the core 4, which is the most important pillars of your life: your spiritual health, your financial health, your physical health, and last but not least, your mental health, which holds everything together. And so today it's about being a man and being able and how to be able to be strong in all of those pillars, not because we want to be, but because we have to be. And today I had brought a guest with me. And Jason, go ahead and introduce yourself to the audience.
Hey, how you doing, guys? Just a pleasure being here with you all today. When Dee asked me to come on and to share my insight about being a father, fatherhood, I was really honored to be able to give him my insight of being a father. I started off being a father at 18, getting ready to be 19, and to have my son grow up with me, also navigating to becoming a man. It's a lot of things you learn along that path. Everything hits you because you're still trying to establish yourself as a man. You're still trying to prove to yourself and everybody else you're a man, but you've got a little one to take care of. You've got a little one that's looking after you, you know what I mean? And you don't hit everything right on the first go around, and it's a learning process as you go. But I think if God is your foundation, God is my foundation, so anytime I got against the wall, I stopped and I prayed, I asked God for wisdom, and I really had to be still and be quiet to listen, to hear what he had to say. Did I always listen? No. But for the majority of times, I try to make sure I listen to do right, because I realize I've got a little person who's looking to me, And then as you get older, you get married, and I've gotten married, and I've got another little one who is now almost 2. Dee and I's kids, they go to the gym together. So it's a lot of fun seeing them interact. But now you have the little one, the wife, the big one, the mom, your pops, because everybody's getting older now. So it's not just you being a man and looking after your own little ones. Now you're the man and you're taking care of your mom and you're taking care of your dad. And my parents live in 2 separate states. My mom's out here, my dad's in Texas. So you have to be very sound to be able to
do all that.
do all that. But
Do
now
it well.
now flip the roles.
Yeah. Wow. That's a good point. That's a good point. And let's unpack that a little bit, man. Dads get a bad rap, bro. I'm gonna start there, man. I'm gonna start this hot. Dads get a bad rap, man, especially dads of color.
Yeah.
Society thinks that we don't take care of our kids, that we leave our kids, we just creating baby mamas and things like that. And if you look at my life, I look at certain aspects, and sometimes when I was younger, I used to shake my head and go, dang, man, I'm perpetuating that stereotype. And the fact of the matter, I was a young dad, same thing. I was 18 or 19, going on 19 when I had my first one, or I think 18, yeah, going, just wild and reckless high school kid, you know what I'm saying? And then, things just didn't work out. I was young, I was dumb. I just made it out of foster care. And so I really didn't know what it meant to be a family man. I didn't, shout out to my daughter's mom, who just did everything possible to try to make me feel, loved, and her family, try to make me feel loved. And I was in foster care. I didn't know what the heck that looked like.
Yeah.
So it was scary for me. So, I ran away from that and sabotaged that and things like that. And so, as I was growing up and, you get on social media and things like that, and you hear like, oh, single dads, single baby mamas, this and that. I go, yeah, but it's not just us.
Yeah.
And it's not like,
yeah.
We just sleeping around with people and then bouncing. Now, although that does happen,
Yeah.
It's not the norm.
Mhm.
And so you share a similar experience with that. How do you drown out the noise, or do you kind of sit there sometimes and go, damn, like, am I perpetuating this stereotype as well? Or
I think it was that generation we grew up in too,
Yeah.
bro. Like, honestly, the songs were talking about having baby mamas.
that's a good point.
You know what I mean?
That's a
So,
good point.
the songs are the hot songs were talking about I got a baby mama, so you thought it was cool to have a baby mama. I knew cats who had kids at 14 and whatnot, and I didn't think I was going to be that one to have one early. But I did tell myself, if I do have one, I'm not going to be that type of dad. I'm going to make sure that I'm in my son's life 100%, as best as possible. Again, things didn't work out between he and his mother and I. All good though, but making sure I'm at the games, or I have him, or just being present.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think one of the biggest things that the moms complain about, if they don't abuse it, is that the dads aren't present.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of dads want to be present, but for the ones who don't want to be present, I knew for myself, I wasn't going to be that dad that was not present in my son's life. That's my son.
Yeah.
I want to see him grow. I want to mold him. I want him to be the best he can be. Like, I want him to be better than I was.
Yeah.
At that age, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I knew I had that responsibility of putting that on him. So did I have to be tough? Yes. Was I hard on him? Yes. And I'm still tough on him. You know what I mean? I still give him, I tell him stuff straightforward, blunt, but with love.
Yeah.
Tell my son I love him all the time. So if he wants the actual answer of what I really think, I'm going to tell him, because I'm saying it not to sugarcoat it. I'm saying it to protect you, son. Yeah. And I think people get love mixed up with it being so cute, cuddly, and friendly. No, as your father, my job is to protect you. My job is to make sure that you excel. My job is to make sure when you become a father that you take the life lessons and the conversations that you and I have had and you apply them to your children. If that means you got to smack them legs when the little one gets out of hand, then you do so. So when you go out in public, your children are not misbehaving. You're not embarrassed.
And the thing about it, I mean, that you raise a really valid point, because kids are dying, man. Like that, and then we got to be really factual. I'm in schools a lot. Kids are dying. Like your kids are dying.
Yeah.
A lot of them because they're misbehaving. They don't know how to act in public. Things like that. And so my responsibility as a dad, and it really hit me too. I was reading my Bible, and God obviously is the ultimate father, and it says like he disciplines those he loves.
Yeah.
And it took me a minute to really grasp what that meant.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so when I look at my son, my kids in general, but my son in particular, because he's the only boy of the family, I'm hard on him as well. And it's not in a sense of, no, you can't do this, you can't do that, but in a sense of, hey, these are the consequences of your actions. And consequences are twofold, right? Like sometimes we think of consequences as negative.
I want to chime on that because
yeah, come on.
I think a lot of times these kids nowadays, they don't fear the consequences. And those consequences will get you either killed or locked up. And so that's our job, is to protect them from those consequences that we don't want to see them become a part of that system. That's how you become the system, because of the consequences, the choices you made. Nobody taught you right from wrong. Nobody told you, hey, if you do this, this is what's going to happen. These kids have no concept. There's no discipline. So even with my little one, he's 2. Almost 2. We get into the little terrible 2 stage where I was throwing a fit, and it's like, hey, calm down. If you said please and calm down, I'll give it to you. But if you act a fool, then we're not going to submit to that.
Yeah.
And the same thing with my oldest. It's like, I remember when he got in trouble. Hey, and the rule was like, don't let me call you dad. If I call you daddy, you already know what time it is. And that was the consequence if he misbehaved. What's dad going to do? What's dad going to think? And you got to have that healthy fear of authority.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
man,
if you don't have that healthy fear, because again, my son and I have a great relationship. I tell him I love him all the time. We talk every day. You know what I mean? It might be a day where he's being lazy or I'm being lazy, but hey, we pick up the phone. Same thing with my dad. He taught me consequences. Hey, if you don't do this, these are consequences. And I think the consequences really touch on the pillars also that you have. You know what I mean? So, looking forward to even going into the pillar aspect.
Man,
of
we're going to jump into that for sure. You drive a good point home, which says they have to have a healthy fear of authority. And oftentimes we have a misconception of what fear means. And, biblically, they use fear a lot, but it's not fear as in, oh, I'm scared of this person. I don't want my son to be scared of me.
Right.
I want him to know, I want him to be disappointed in the fact that he has disappointed me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I want him to get to that point where it's just like, dang, like my dad has, all of my kids, right? My dad has done this for me. He has done this for me. He's like, for instance, my daughter went to the same school that me and her mom went to, the same high school. And, her mom was an all-star soccer player. She was highly liked in the community. Her mom and dad have lived in the community forever. She was a good student. She was a great soccer player. People know her. Same thing. I was super popular in school. I was a Hall of Fame athlete, but I treated people with kindness, And so whenever my daughter went to school, she hated it, but whenever she went to school, she's like, "Oh, you're Dee's daughter. You're Dee's daughter." And one day we're having this conversation, and she's like, "I don't want to be Dee's daughter forever. I wanted I'm me, and I want to be known for me." And I was trying to get her to understand they categorize you like that because of the good things that your dad did.
Yeah.
because of the legacy that he built, because of how I treated people and things like that. And I get it. Like, you are your own person, but the foundation was laid with me and your mom. You know, like, we weren't out there wilding, whatever. And yeah, we had a kid early and things like that. But I mean, if that's the one thing that you can pop us on, it'd be that. But other than that, you know, we were just really good people. And so it's like, I want you to know that when you go out, you represent us.
Yep.
And that's where that fear comes from. Like, not that I'm scared of my mom or dad, but
disappointment feeling.
yeah, I don't want to tarnish their name. And then one day you're going to have kids and people are going to be like, oh, you're Jaden's daughter. You're Brooklyn's daughter. You're Charlie's son, or whatever the case may be. And that's a good thing. And so, you know, we'll hop into these buckets. Now, this is where parents, because I do a parent night where I do workshops with parents, and this is where parents kind of drop the ball. And this is where those 3 buckets come in. All right. I cannot control my kids.
Correct.
We think we can,
Yeah.
but we cannot.
Yep.
They are Jaden is correct. My oldest is correct. They are their own person, and they are going to do what they want to do. It is our hope, though, as parents, that we lead them in the right way, because ultimately we're letting them go.
Yeah.
You know? And so a lot of parents struggle with this. They think that they can make their kids do something. They have full control over their kids. And I try to tell them, no, you have responsibility over your kids, but not control.
I think for parents also, if you build that healthy relationship with them, again, I mean, I come from an era where you get a spanking. I know that's controversial now, but I got a spanking. Did I get my son spankings? Yeah. But I always explained to him why he was getting it. Again, the consequences of it. And so now my son's 21. He wants to go out, but does he go out? He doesn't really even go out. He's a good kid, like legit a good kid. Has he had a couple of drinks? Yeah, and we talk about it and stuff like that. But overall, he knows right from wrong. You know what I mean? And or either he'll call me and ask me, hey, Dad, what do you think about this? And that says a lot. Hey, Dad, I want to go out with some friends tonight. You know, we might go to the bar. So I'm like, hey, baby, you know, just watch your drinking. I can't tell him not to drink because he's 21. He's actually an adult. But the fact that he still comes to me and says, hey, Dad, what do you think about this? Or what do you think about this girl? And I'm like, you know, the fact that he still comes to me and asks me, we have conversations on him being an adult says a lot about how I brought him up or how we brought him up, where he feels comfortable enough to talk about those topics. And again, if we hadn't had that healthy respect or that healthy fear, but also the love and nurturing. Yeah. I think as dads, we miss that too.
We forget that part.
Yeah, we forget that too. And I think I was able to find that balance of being hard, but also being nurturing. Yeah. Because he's a male. I got to be hard. But you will hear me tell you, I love you. You will hear tell me, I'm proud of you. You will hear me tell you, hey, bro, don't do that. You know what I mean? Like, don't go drinking. Now, like you said, we can tell them if they're going to do it. They may do it. They may not do it. But you hopefully you've instilled enough into them over the years that, again, they don't want to disappoint you. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, you can't, like you said, you can't control them. But you want to hope that what you have taught them, your example of your being, is enough to carry them. And that they know, like, hey, I don't want to deal with these type of people. I'm trying to go here. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because again, our generation, it was fun. Okay, like hands down, it was about partying, girls, and your uncle be like, yo, how many girlfriends you got? Or your aunties be like, how many girlfriends you got? Or you know, all the songs about I'm a player and this, that, and the third, and you got the jagged edge, the love songs and everything. So our era was a little bit different, where it was kind of like, if you didn't have a girlfriend or you didn't have 2 girlfriends, it's kind of like, what's wrong with you? You know what I mean? And I'm telling my son, like, I'm going to tell you differently. These joints out here, like, yo, take your time. They're not going nowhere, I promise. Yeah. And if you're going to spend time with one, make sure she's worth it. What's she going to school for? What's she looking to do with her life?
Ask the right questions.
You know what I mean? she don't have to be a millionaire, but at least have some aspirations, like, or some goals and dreams. Somebody that you all can help each other.
Yeah.
Where our generation was like, yo, we seen a shorty. Hey, yo, you gonna holler at shorty? Yo, you gonna go holler at shorty? So it's just a different generation, and I think, again, it goes back to that relationship you have with your kids. You know what I mean? Like, I was strict, but I was also very loving. I was strict, but I was also very encouraging. I was strict, but also very empowering.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I honestly, I wasn't even strict, but you knew what I expected from you.
Yeah.
If you're playing sports, man, go out there and do your best. If you're out playing sports, go out and go above and beyond. Be the best person out there. Be that one that everybody looks to like, damn, Jason out there doing extra laps. You know what I mean? Don't be that one where you laughing on the sideline. You
Man, I had to get on mine earlier. I took him to a soccer camp, man, and he had 2 other kids that were just kind of doing everything half-assed, man.
Yeah.
Just like whatever. And I could tell like he was kind of following suit, man. So I called him to the side. I'm like, hey, man, when we out here, bro, you gotta be your best. You can't conform to them. Like, make them conform to you. So if they see that you going hard, 2 things are gonna happen. They're gonna call you a try hard, which is fine.
Yeah.
Like, be that person.
Yeah.
Or they gonna step their game up too, but never stoop down to their level. And he understood it, man. But it's just like, I look at it and I always go, I never want my kid to be the kid that's picked last. You know what I'm saying? When that is in your control.
Yeah.
Right? Like, how good you are in sports outside of a bucket 3 problem, which is like a genetic issue or something like that, you determine how good you're gonna be.
You're gonna put that work in.
Yeah, I was watching an interview with they were talking to Kyrie's dad, Kyrie Irving's dad, and one of the interview had asked like, dang, how did Kyrie become Kyrie? And the dad said, man, when I was at work from 9 to 5, he was in the backyard from 9 to 5. Like, he treated it like a job, and he's like, same thing that we're saying. I was tough on him, but I also encouraged him, and it came naturally to him and things like that. And which takes me to the core 4, right? The most resilient people on the planet that I've studied all have very strong standings in these core 4 areas. Now there's a lot of areas, you know what I'm saying, but the ones that really stood out through my speaking career of the last 15, 16 years, and the people that I've talked to, they've always had a problem in one of these 4 areas. It was either spiritually, financially, physically, or mentally. It's always something in those.
Dee, I always, and those 4 are great, but for me, spiritually has to be number 1.
It is number 1.
Okay. Yeah, spiritually has to be number 1. You know what I'm saying?
So let me get into that, because I want to ask you some questions about that as well. So I agree with you. Anytime the spiritual core was broken, and when I say spiritual, a lot of people go, religion. I'm not talking about just religion. What I'm talking about is identity. I'm talking about values, beliefs, where you get those beliefs from, integrity. All of that falls into spiritual health, right? Yeah. And so, like, as for me and for you, like, our blueprint comes from our religious views, our relationship with God, and how we follow those things. And other people might not necessarily believe, but their values and morals come from something, right? But your spiritual pillar is always going to be what makes you you. Do you stand on business? Are you kind to people? Do you serve people? What's your integrity like? So on and so forth. And the reason why that's number 1, and it was like that and financial. Like, those were like, neck and neck. But the reason why spiritual is number 1 is because once you start wavering on your morals and your integrity and your belief, everything else just kind of starts to fall apart.
Yeah, definitely agree. Spiritually, I think spiritually, if you're not sound spiritually, like you said, everything will fall apart. Because what do you have to go back to? You know, my pastor, Prophet Joshua Holmes, when I'm not in a good place and I need to hear, I listen to him. He's got thousands of YouTubes, you know, and I listen to him, and it always brings me back. And for some reason, when me and my dad talk, and I put him on, it's talking about exactly what me and my dad talked about. Or, you know, and it's not a 45 minutes. Sometimes it's an hour. Sometimes it's 23 minutes. But it always brings me back to the original father, of what I need to be doing, how I should be living my life, how you have to forgive. Because if you don't have those things, you will become bitter, and then your morals fall off. So then it doesn't matter what you were taught, because now you have no morals. You have nothing to fall back on. Now you're just kind of a free for all. And when you're free for all, man,
that's when we're at our most dangerous.
Yeah, because there's no telling what you'll do. That's why you hear about people or kids. He was a good kid. He was brought up in the church. Now he's a killer.
Yeah.
Because he lost that way. He wasn't staying tapped in. So, you know, like I said, my pastor, listening to his word, also reading the Bible, also praying, asking God for wisdom. Lord, help me lead my family. Because I think as a husband, I have to be patient. Because I don't know what my wife is dealing with on her end. You know what I mean? And I think as husbands, we have to be patient. If we don't have God giving us information on how to be patient with our wives, patient with our children, patient with our parents,
and ourselves.
I think being patient with ourselves is probably one of the hardest things. There's so much you want to do as a man, and there's so much pressure we've put on ourselves, and society has put on us, that if you don't have that spiritual foundation where you're by yourself and you're talking to the Father and you're asking for help, asking for wisdom, asking for favor with men and women that you come in contact, asking God to bless whatever it is that you're working on. I mean, you can open yourself up to a lot of disasters.
You're drowned in the noise, man.
A lot.
You're drowned in the noise. That's sound, man. It's just like, it's also important as a dad, because what are you passing down? You know, I talk a lot about just, you know, racism and how it's taught and how it's, you know, passed down from parent to child. And that is a broken spiritual pillar. Like anytime I come across a like I used to trip, dog. I don't trip anymore because I know what it is now. Spiritually, you're broken. You just can't be spiritually sound and racist. Like, it just doesn't work that way. You know what I'm saying? And then pass that down to your kid. Like, that's just, you just can't be. And so, like, I always look at it, not as a sickness, but kind of, because it's just like, okay, that's something that you could fix if you want, but you're poisoning the well by passing it down. So I don't really trip on that. However, my son is starting to get a little bit more privy to how certain people act. He had his first like what the heck moment. Actually, yesterday, we were at a little festival, and some lady had a kiosk. She's probably like Iranian or somewhere in like the Middle Eastern level of ethnicity. And you know, some white lady came along, and like she was kind of talking to her family, kind of chastising this young lady. You know, she was selling like it's like skincare, but it's made with like beef tallow and things like that. Cool. So the white lady's like, oh, you know, if your face is this and that, just throw some beef tallow on it. You know, just being very condescending. And my son, he's gonna be 11, dude. He's like, Dad, like, what she did? You know, he's like, what she did? Why she say that? You know what I'm saying? And you know, he was very pressed about it. You know, I can tell it was his first time that like he dealt with something like that. He was like, yeah, she's making fun of the way she talks and things like that, and he didn't like that. And like, as a dad, it was a proud moment. You know, for one, because to see his response.
Yeah, no, for sure.
You know, to that.
He realized that that's wrong.
That's wrong, right? And the second point is like I taught him that. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't be a nice person, bro. Like, you know, and one thing that I always tell him, dude, like, if you're in school and I hear you bullying, like,
Yeah.
I was like, bro, don't even, you already know the deal.
Yeah,
You already
yeah.
know what's going to happen. It's like, that's one thing that I do not want to see or ever hear
Yeah.
from you. You stand up for your friends. You know what I'm saying? You don't cause nothing. You don't bully nothing, whatever. You try to find a way to understand those things, to understand people, why they're different. You know, we have some kids that are, you know, maybe on the spectrum or aren't really, you know, I don't want to say normal, but, you know, have cognitive issues and things like that. Dude, you be kind to those people, man. Things like that. And I get that because spiritually, that spiritual pillar for me is very strong. Like, I believe in helping other people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's
being,
always a core for me.
And being kind. It doesn't hurt to be kind. I think us as black men, we have a stereotype of being so rough and tugged, you know, but when we're the opposite, we're kind, we're helpful, you know, it shows a different output. Like if somebody's being ugly and nasty, like I'm not gonna be a punk, but I'm also not gonna be acting a fool either.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It doesn't hurt for me to open the door for somebody or some people, well, regardless of their color. So by my actions and how I carry myself and you carry yourself, like we're the examples. That's why your son was like, yo, Dad, why is she tripping on this lady? You know what I mean? Because I wasn't raised about color. It was always about how people treated me. And I've done the same thing with my son. Like, hey, it's not about color. How has that person treated you? And, you know, in California, it's a melting pot.
Yeah.
So, you know, you hear, like, I've heard, you know, this race doesn't like this race or this race. Man, I've come across all the races, and by my being, I've experienced nothing but love.
Yeah.
Whether they're Asian, Hispanic, Black, Indian, white, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. But my being, I set the tone. And I think that's one thing we have to teach our sons is you set the tone.
That's a my choice. I'm glad you said that, man, because it's true. Like, how you treat people is my choice. How they treat you has nothing to do with you. But like I said, in bucket number 2, you have influence.
Yep.
That means that, you know, if I treat you kind, I can't control how you treat me back. Like, I could treat you kind and you could just be straight up mean to me. You know what I'm saying? I have no control over that. However, it's going to make it a lot easier for you to be kind to me if I treat you that way. That's why I say I tell people that you have influence. I just can't make you treat me that way.
It doesn't hurt.
It doesn't hurt.
The other day I was excited. I was like, I'm about to hit the gym. Boom, boom, boom. Past the cops. Pulled me over. I'm like, damn. I was thinking more or less, man, I got to tell wife I got a ticket. You know what I mean? So the officer pulls up and he was like, Mr. Best, sir, you know how fast you're going? I said, sir, I apologize. I said, I just left my wife. I just left my 2-year-old. I'm excited to get out. I'm excited to hit the gym, get this workout in. He was like, okay. Just hang tight. He's like, you have your license? I said, yeah, here you go. He was cool. Do you have your registration? I said, sir, it's been so long since I got pulled over. I don't even know. So he went back to the car, checked out the stuff, came back. He said, you know, Mr. Best, just slow it down. I see your tag's on the way. I'm going to give you a, what is it? Come on, D.
Citation?
No, not even a warning.
Oh, warning.
He
Okay,
gave me
okay,
a warning. But my being, put the windows down. He didn't have to ask for anything. I was polite. I was joking with him. You know, I was like, hey, man, thank you so much, because the last thing I want to do is go home and tell my wife I got a ticket. Then she's going to say, I told you to slow down, blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? So, you know, even that stereotype, now, granted, there are some cops who power trip, but you set the tone.
Yeah.
We set the tone for it.
Yeah.
If I had my windows up and I said, for what? What do you want to see this for? I have my rights. Then now we're in a tussle.
Yeah.
I mean, here's my license. Do I deserve a ticket? I did deserve a ticket. I wasn't going that much over the speed limit, but
I was going over the speed
I was going
limit.
over. That's the go back. That was the consequence
Yeah.
of me going over the speed limit. I would have got a ticket. But that's what I tell my son. Hey, son, you know, if you get pulled over, be polite. Hi, sir. My name is Jason Best. Da 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 da. How can I help you? And I said, when you do that, he's already coming to the car gun ho.
Yeah.
But if you de-escalate it, You give him what he's asking you for. You don't give him any reason to try to punk you or show you that he's the boss. You still might get a ticket.
Yeah.
But you're alive. You're not going to jail.
That part.
And it's less of a hassle.
That
You know what I
part.
mean? Like, instead of you being there for an hour in handcuffs because of this situation, now you get your ticket 15 minutes later and you're going about your business.
Yeah.
You know?
There's you drive home a good point, man. And I've been really teaching my kids, but mostly my son, man. Like I said, I'm really like, yo, you gotta do this. Is we as a community, at least this is what's shown, tend to, give officers a hard time. And this is why I try to teach this philosophy, right? Let's say an officer pulls you over to racially profile you. You didn't do anything wrong. They just want to harass you, which happens.
Yeah.
All right. Many people blame the officer, and this is what, don't mix your buckets, right? And remember, you have no control. Let's role play. You're the cop.
Yep.
I'm the guy, and you just want to start issues, right? I have no control over how you act, how you approach me, none of that. Zero control. I only have control over what I have control of. And in this situation, it's comply, do what you're told. If they break the law, sue them. I had a cop pull me over, man, like he was not paying attention at all. So they were doing some construction on the gas station right off of Archibald. They're doing some construction off the gas station. And he was looking at it. He was driving in the lane. He was kind of looking at it, going really slow, so on and so forth. I put on my blinker because I was right behind him. I put on my blinker, went over, drove past him. And then our turn was coming up here. Put on my blinker, turned over, boom. So as soon as I do that, hits me with the lights, Oh, you cut me off. You sped past me, cut me off. I'm like, bro, I don't know what you were watching, dog, but no siree. And so I went down exactly what happened. I was like, man, we pulled out of, right off of Church. We pulled out. We were going. I saw you. You were passing the Shell gas station. You were looking out that way. I pulled over, boom, boom. So just gave him a play-by-play. Where you going? Like, just attitude, bro. This is early in the morning. Where you going? Oh, I'm dropping my son off to school. My son's in the back. Like, you can clearly see him, Where's your son? I'm like, oh, so it's going to be like this, So I'm like, he's right there, sir. Well, I don't see him. I'm just like, he's right. Just being a dick, bro.
Yeah.
So I'm like, he's right back there, whatever. He's like, well, I'm going to give you a ticket for blah, 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 this and that. And I'm just like, first I was just like, oh, all right, cool. Here's my license, registration, so on and so forth. You got bring it up in court, yada, yada, so on and so forth. So I'm like, all right, cool. Go to court. He didn't show up. Case dismissed. Done deal. Now, is it an inconvenience?
Yeah.
Yes, right? But I got my son to school.
Yep.
Done deal. And he knew he was wrong. That's why he didn't show up to court. You know what I'm saying? And same thing, like a lot of things happen. And this is why your spiritual pillar has to be sound, especially as a parent and teaching our kids this, especially as fathers teaching our kids this, is fight it in court. If they break the law, yes, it's an inconvenience.
It takes time.
It takes time.
Extra time.
However,
Yeah.
So many people, right? And this is for y'all. So many of y'all out there have, and I hate to say it like this, but I just want to be honest. Instead of having $100,000, $1 million, $2 million checks because an officer did you wrong, you now have a dead son or a dead daughter because you did not take the time to teach them to be sound, calm, cool, and collected, even in the midst of injustice. Now, some of y'all might say, oh, that's easy for you to say. We've had some run-ins with the cops. I know me and my boys, one time we were at Denny's after like we were just hanging out. And we were just having a good time. So much so that people thought we were drunk, right? We were laughing and we were having a good time. So we leave Denny's, we're driving home, cop flashes us and just starts to make up some BS. y'all are drunk. Da da da. It's just like none of us in here drink. And so he's like, I'm pulling you over for. He start making up stuff. Brought out the little tire measure. Well, you're this far from the curve. Like your windows are like all this other stuff. And I'm not gonna lie, man. Back then, like we got really hot because I knew exactly what they were doing. However, we all made it home.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And I think, like you said, back then, what we learned back then. It's our job to now teach our children. You know what I mean? Like back then, we might have been a little bit more mouthy, or back then we would have been like, "Are you?" You know what I mean? Just back then was different than now. You still needed to have that proper respect back then. But again, it's more so now. And if we didn't have that proper respect back then and we had to go through stuff, let me teach my son to do opposite so he doesn't have to go through it. So if I know I was mouthy and I was whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop, well, let me tell my son to do opposite so that if he gets pulled over, he doesn't have to go through that, or his outcome might be different. You know what I mean? Because like you said, we've gotten pulled over. We've gotten racially profiled where, oh, your car's too low. Oh, your tint's too low. Hey, I smell weed in the car. They used to get you on a dime bag. They trying to take everybody on a dime bag back in the day. You know what I mean? So it's just like, if I had to go through it again, let me spare you that. Listen to what I'm telling you. Just trust me. I only learned this because I experienced it. And that's part of me being hard on you to protect you. I can't protect you if you don't listen. I can't protect you if I don't give you those raw facts about things. Like, hey, if they ask you a question, answer the question. They ask you to roll down the window, roll down the window. You don't need to argue. You don't need to prove that you're a man. We know you're a man, son. You know what I mean? So to alleviate the headache from your life and all the other stuff, just do what they ask you to do.
And done deal, man. Like, turn an inconvenience either into money because they didn't follow policy and things like that, or, be alive, man. Like, make it home. And that's why it's really important for you dads out there to learn what it is to be a dad. Now, we all have our own different style, but it goes back to what I said earlier. Sometimes you have to look at how you were raised and go, was this right? Was this wrong?
Yeah.
How do I need to adjust it? And things like that. And so, and that's across spiritual health, and we're going to get into financial and then physical, and then we'll end it with mental, putting it all together. But right now there's this war against men and women about finances.
Yeah.
And one thing that I'm telling dudes is, bro, get your money up.
Yeah.
Stop wasting it. Get your money up. Stop focusing on I got to be honest with you. There are women out there who just want your money. That's it.
Yeah.
Your job as a man is to get your finances in order for the family that you will one day have. And that means not giving your kids every single thing that they want, not going broke to give your kids every single thing that they want, not feeling less than a man because, your girlfriend or your wife wants to go, spend $10,000 in a weekend that you don't have. You got to be able to say, no, you are the stewards of your finances. I'm gonna cut it down a little bit. I'm gonna say just for whatever. I'm gonna say 90% of the men that I talk to that are struggling in life have financial problems. 90%.
Believe that. Yeah.
Their dads didn't teach them finance. I learned all my financial literacy from Biggie and Tupac. And that was, for real, that was buy shoes. You can look right now in that closet. I have a whole walk-in closet full of shoes. I was in debt. I just had shoes, jewelry, all the stuff that I learned.
Assets. I mean, I was fortunate enough to have Uncle Keith. Uncle Keith was a beast back in the day. You know what I mean? Like, Uncle Keith he always had a new cell phone. He always had a lot of money. He had houses. And so my cousin and I, we learned, like, own stuff. So even if you don't have it, it was always a goal, like, own properties. He would flip cars. So it's always like, assets, and when you learn about assets, and you always have that in the back of your mind, you don't get stuck on the little things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like even
1000%.
on IG, I sent my wife this link to it's a land where you buy land. It's land in California, 80 acres for $39,000. I'm like, when we get the extra, this is what we need to be putting money into. Put money into land. You know what I mean? And when you're out there networking and you're listening, this is why you can't have that prejudice against other people, because other people do have more financial literacy than you do, or their family has more financial literacy and money than you do. And if you have that prejudice against them because of their race or ethnicity or man or woman, then you're missing missing a lot of valuable information. A lot of stuff I've learned is just because I've become friends with people, and we start talking, and they're older and they're teaching me how to do this, or great example of rest in peace, my friend Eloise. He gave me this one example before. He had a Rolex. He's like, Jay, you want to buy this Rolex? I was like, yeah. He's like, give me $100 for it. I said, let me go to the bank and get it. He said, you failed. I said, what do you mean I failed? He said, well, while you're going to the bank, another man just offered me $200. You know what I mean? And he's like, always be prepared also, So that's one thing also with your finances, like have a little cash in your pocket so that you are prepared for those opportunities to come. Because if you're not prepared for the opportunities to come, you can miss them also. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
While you're getting financially literate or learning about finances, also be learning about the opportunities, or keep notes of the opportunities so that you can go back to those opportunities once you get that money. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like going back to my uncle, him having the houses. That has stuck in my head for all these years. And so it's, again, when you get the extra money, you don't go blow it on cars, clothes, and jewelries and all the other stuff that the video showed you. You go and buy an asset. You might go buy a Rolex so they don't depreciate. You might go buy you a little Airbnb property, or you might go buy stuff that's not fancy, but it's an asset. It's something that if you trade it, you're going to get money for, or it's something that you can have that you can pass on to the next generation. And again, I think just being around those type of people who understand and show you. I'm a visual person, but also I can hear too.
Yeah.
But seeing it and witnessing it, it's like, oh, okay, I understand. I know what I'm going to do. Because you're not going to get it right. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to spend money on stuff you don't need or whatever. But if you always have that core value understanding, hey, when I get this is what I'm going to put my money into,
And so, dads, fathers out there, it is your job to teach your kids financial literacy.
Correct.
Hands down. And I'm not taking anything away from moms either. That's, as a parent, that is our job. But as a dad, your job is to, one, get financially literate yourself, and two, pass it down to your kids. Now, and this is to all parents, but I'm just saying like that's one of our duties is to show our kids what that means. Assets, liabilities, debt, income, debits, credits, and things like that, and what to stay away from, but also what to think about in the future. My son, I'm rolling at my son, man, because he was at the mall and he saw these little new, I think they're called Neatos, and the lady fleeced him. Dad, I just want to ask how much, and I'm just like, nah, Brooklyn, it's a kiosk, like, nah, bro, don't even do it, dad. But as a dad, I'm just like, all right, man, you gonna learn. Yeah. So he goes over there. He's talking to the ladies. He's like, oh, they're buy two get one free, and they're $15 each, right? So he goes to grab these $15 Neatos, and he realized, dang, I just spent $30, So we're in there. I wait, because he's happy, right? Oh, Dad, I bought it with my own money. I'm just, dap him up. I'm like, hey, man, congrats, this and that. So we get into the car, and I'm like, oh, how much were they? He goes, oh, $15. Pull it up, right? They're like $4. You know, so I show him. I go, man, got you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And like as a dad, I'm like, I'm gonna let you learn this lesson because what I'm trying to teach him is every time you see something, boom, boom, boom. So we not used to, but we go to like comic conventions.
Okay.
And comic conventions usually have these huge, like, you know, retail spaces. You know, from row 0 to row 200, right? So just a bunch of vendors and things like that. Give my kids each $50. You know, before we get out of row 1,
They spent it.
they spent it. And then row 2, oh man, like I really want this. Or they bought something in row 1 for $50, and in row 5 they have the same thing for $20. You know, and so I actually let them do that for a while until I taught them to hold on. Like if you want something, write it down, and then we'll come back. But chances are somebody is selling something that you want for less.
No, 100%. Like we go yearly to the reptile convention.
Okay.
And
The one in Pomona.
yeah,
All right.
yearly we go there. We've been going there for years, and it's crazy because I've seen the prices where the snakes were like 20,000, and now that same type of snake you can get for maybe 1,200. But say all that to say is, when you first get in, you're overwhelmed, right? The guy in the front has a beautiful ball python, and he's selling it for 18,000. You go down, we walk through, and then you find somebody else over here, same color snake, very close, actually a little bit prettier, and he's selling that snake for $300. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, you know, if you jump at everything that's glitter right away, then you will get got. So you do have to do a little due diligence and be patient. That's the thing. That's a big thing too. You know, I tell my son, be patient. Look around before you make that final decision. Don't buy off in emotions. If I want something, I try not to buy it off in emotions or excitement. That's how people get you off of emotions and excitement. Now, sometimes it's one of the things like, oh, I gotta have it. Like, I'm a dog person, so if I see a dog that I want, it's this structure, like, and they say, you know, it's $5,000. I don't know if I'm I don't know if I'm gonna be keep looking around. I might have to just get because it's that exactly what I want at that specific time. But for the most part, you know, you really want to do your homework. You know, same thing with jewelry. This kiosk is they're selling this chain for $5,000. This kiosk is $1,200. Same chain, same thickness, same everything. But you know, again, like you said, that's our job to tell our kids, like, hey, shop around. You don't have to. You can get it, but you don't have to buy the first one that you get.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Take some time to do a little homework on it, like you did. You went online and looked it up, and it's like, bro, these things are only $4. Yeah, you just spent 30. You could have got 2 of them for $8.
For real, bro.
You know what I mean?
But I mean, you're right, and that's such a blanket statement because you can apply that or cover many areas with that. Girls, what school you want to go to, sports, yada yada. It's like don't just go after the first one that you, unless you know. You know, there's some stories out there where it's just like, oh, Dad, I just knew, you know, and then boom, like you have it. But for the most part, yeah, I mean, there's a trick that I used to use when I was trying to get out of debt. Is whenever I wanted something, 2 things. Like whenever I wanted something, I'd write it down, like write down the price. Like, you know, I saw these shoes for, you know, $200. I'd write down the price plus tax, all of that. And I would take that and just pay off, you know, that amount of my credit card. So it's like I bought it, I just didn't have it. You know, that was one thing I was trying to do when I got out of debt. And another thing was I would write it down and then put it in my pocket and just wait for a day. And if I wanted it after that day, after I done slept on it, yada, yada, then I'd go get it.
Yeah, that's actually a really good
I just do it all the
tool.
time.
Yeah, that's a really good tool because, like we just said, you know, we go off of emotions and excitement. Like, yo, I want these joints, da 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 da. And once you kind of get past that, like,
would you sleep on it and be like, damn, do I really want to drive to the mall again today? Nah. Then I would just throw it away. Yeah. You know?
That's a great technique.
But I still do it.
Yeah, I was gonna say I might need to pick that one up.
I still do it. I keep like a week, man. Like if you ever look into my car, bro, in the center console, it's all pens.
Yeah, okay.
All pens, pencils. I do it all the time. Yeah. And it's just especially like when I really, really want something, just write it down right? And then 99% of the time, bro, I wake up in the morning, I'm like, I don't really.
I've done that too. And like you said, I don't feel like going back to the store.
Yeah, facts.
And sometimes it'll be a week or two, like Marshalls. I love going to Marshalls, and I'll see something in there I want, and I'm like, I don't need it. And I'm like, man, I want that. I wake up the next day, and I don't feel like driving to Marshalls.
Yeah.
And I'm always helping my wife, like, hey, babe, we're going to go to Marshalls so that she can drive or we go together. And sometimes it's a week or two later, and I'm like, I still don't want it. You know what I mean? I thought I was going to want it, but I really didn't want it.
Yeah.
So I was glad I didn't get it just to have it. But then there's times where, like, we just be spontaneous. Like, I want to get that shirt. You sure, babe? Sure. All right, cool, bet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes, but I think having that healthy respect of the finances, knowing when to say no, and okay, this is $300. Do we have the extra $300 just to buy it? But if you don't, it's okay. You know what I mean? It's okay if you don't have it. But if you have it, if you have the money to spend, you can spend it, or you can put it away in the savings or whatever, and work it off of the interest, whatever you're doing with your savings, so that you can buy. That's another one of the trick. Let your assets pay for your living.
Man, that's a good one.
That's one thing. The financial literacy, I tell my son so that he knows it's in his head already. Predisposed.
Yeah.
So that, hey, let your assets buy your stuff. Yeah. Have I done it all the way? No, I haven't done it all the way, but I'm working towards it. But if he has that advantage of him knowing it already, he's going to think, let me get my asset so that asset pays for my living. I had to learn, let your assets pay for your living. I had to learn, I had to watch, I had to study. Assets pay for your living. You don't pay for it. Your assets pay for it. If I got a laundromat, the laundromat's paying for the house.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
My boys are like my friends. Most of them are pretty sound financially. At least they know what they should be doing.
Yeah.
And again, like whenever I teach this, it's not about perfection. You're always going to have your ups and downs and the moments where you mess up. It's just about consistency, And then speaking of consistency, I want to get into these last two as we wrap it up, man. And this one's probably your bread and butter, but that physical pillar, bro. Like, as a dad, how important is it to be physically healthy, man?
I'm gonna put that up there with spiritual, because if you're not physically healthy, then you don't feel good, and it's hard to be spiritual and not feel good. Facts. Granted, when you don't feel good, you do go spiritual. But if you're feeling good, you're feeling strong, then you can be spiritual even more, and you're that example. You know what I mean? Like,
you have the energy for it.
Yeah, I've got a 21-year-old, I got a almost 2-year-old, so both spectrums, I'm running. You know what I'm saying? Especially this little one, man. He get out the door, boom, he's taking off.
That's all facts.
You know what I mean? So I think being physically fit also ties in being mentally fit. For me, going to the gym is my outlet. That's my spiritual. There's times when I'm in there and it's just me. I'm zoned out. I'm not thinking about anyone but myself and what I'm doing that day. I went to the gym this morning, and on the way, I'm literally having a conversation. Are you going to do bis and tris, or are you going to do back and shoulders? And I'm having this conversation as I'm walking through the door of the gym. And I ended up doing back and shoulders, which is great. So now tomorrow's like, okay, you're doing bis and tris, all arm work, and you know what I mean? So I think that right there, and just you as a man, being physically fit.
Must.
You don't got to be a bodybuilder or power lifter, but you need to be working out so that when your son or your daughter looks at you, they're like, man, my dad's strong. Or your wife, my dad's strong. I'm not shaming nobody, but if your wife is working out and you're not working out and you're not looking like much, but she looks good, like when you guys met, you guys both look good. And you both had an attraction for each other. Now, granted, everybody might go through a period of time where they don't look their best or feel their best, but as long as they're trying to get back to it or they're working towards getting back to it, I think it's important for both parents. But again, we grew up in an era where it was G.I. Joe. The G.I. Joes had muscles. Popeye, Brutus had muscles. He-Man had muscles. Everybody had muscles, bro. So it was like, yo, if you wasn't working out as a dude, like,
What
you was
was
a
you
weenie.
doing?
Yeah, what
Yeah,
are you
what was you
doing? You know
doing?
what I mean? And so, like, I think as dads, it's great for us to carry that over into us being fathers.
Yeah.
You know, because back in the day, as a father, you had to be physically fit to go provide for your family. You had to be physically fit to protect your family. And I think we've lost that as a society here because it's more about technology. But if you can incorporate the two of them together, you're winning. You know,
Yeah.
I definitely feel that being physically fit, again, you don't have to be the biggest, the strongest, the best, but you do need to be active.
Yeah, and your kids need to see that.
They see it.
Like you said, you know, I want to look at my dad and be like, dude, my dad is strong. You know, like that's a sense of security.
Oh man,
You know what I'm
100%.
saying? Sense of peace. And again, you don't got to be a bodybuilder, you don't got to be a ripstick, but you got to be able to have the energy required to think ahead and do what you need to do.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
you might have to fight. Hopefully you don't, but you might have to. You might have to run. You might have to, you know, go outside and play with your son. And I've realized that, like, my kids, you know, and we go to the gym, the little kids gym all the time. You know what I'm saying?
And we running from
Yeah,
back and
boom, boom,
forth.
boom, 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 boom. And we have to, because not only because you got the swings going,
Yeah,
you know, we got to
yeah.
be able to stop the swing, get them, pick them up, and you know, run out if we need to, and do those things. And so, like, as a dad, man, it is also our responsibility to determine the physical health
Mhm.
of the household. Now, I understand that, you know, women have children and, you know, their bodies change. We get old. There's a lot of things that go on within the body. However, I do hear a lot of women mix their buckets and blame their kids for the reason why they are not in shape. And, you know, I'm not a woman, so I'm not going to, you know, dive too much into it. However, I do want to point that out. When you blame your kids,
Yeah.
that's when you're mixing the buckets up, right? When you take full responsibility, I'd rather somebody go, you know what, I just don't feel like going.
Well, I'm gonna touch back on being a man.
Mm-hmm.
That's where it is your job as the man to lead the household.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are consistently going to the gym, if you're consistently, I don't care if you're not even going to the gym, if you're consistently working out at home or you going for walks, it's going to be in your wife's face or your girl's face all the time. And she's going to she's going to want to, because she sees you consistently either going to the gym, either working out at home, either walking. She's going to
Eating
want
right.
to.
Yeah.
Eating right. She's going to want to, because she wants to stay looking good for you.
Yeah.
And herself also. She sees you doing, hey, let me do it also. So that's another responsibility that the household in itself has.
Yeah.
I go to the gym consistently. My wife is like, hey, let me at least go walking. Hey, let me at least get some workouts done at the house. When I go see my mom, she's tough. If I look like I'm getting a little heavy, she'll come poke me. Hey, you're looking a little heavy. But then she I saw her yesterday. She was like, I've been walking. She lets me know, I've been walking. Jay, how do I look? I've been walking. So it's kind of one of those things where it's like, you set that tone of being physically fit. And I've got to give credit to my dad. You know, I saw my dad look like a superhero. He looked like a black G.I. Joe. You know what I mean? Like, every morning I saw him either doing push-ups, arm curls, and he had one of those knots that looked like my fist. Like, when he did a bicep, so I thought my dad was a superhero. You know, he took his vitamins, the protein shake. He was always doing push-ups or working out. So to me, and then he had the old school Flex magazines and bodybuilding magazines. So to me, it was like, if you weren't even striving to be somewhere like that, you wasn't a man. You know what I mean? And in some degree, it was good. And in some degree, it was like, it kind of hurt. Because it's like, I got to get like this. You got to get like this. So, you want to make sure you look strong and you feel strong. And that's what I mean by now. It's like, now I have to take care of my parents. I've got to, hey, are you okay? You guys doing all right? You know, Dad's not quite as strong as he used to be. And it's hard for me to even say that. You know what I mean? It's hard for me to even say that he's not as strong as he used to be mentally, but physically he's not as strong. And that's okay. My mom, not as strong as she used to be. That's okay. But she's still getting out and walking. Dad's still doing his exercise at the house. So even though they're not doing as much as they once were, it still keeps me inspired to, okay, they can't do what they used to fully do, but they're still working at it. And I think, again, both my sons, my son, he goes to the gym by himself now. Ollie, I take to the park and I have him climb the stairs.
Yeah.
He's like, well, why would you do that? Like, he thinks it's fun. No, to me, I'm like, man, I'm building up
He
this.
getting work. He working out,
I'm
man.
building up
Charlie is
these
the
legs,
same
you know
way,
what I
man.
mean?
I'm like, yo, go around, climb the big one. Yeah, you can do it.
And they see us. And so if my son has that aspect of my dad is strong, I need to catch up to my daddy.
Yeah.
Or this is what my dad expects. I'm setting a high standard for him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because nobody else is going to set that standard for him. So I set that high standard of physical, mental, and spiritual. That's the direction you need to go, son.
Yeah.
I hope you get there. I hope you pass it. But that's why it's important for me to stay physically fit. That's why it's important for me to stay spiritually fit and healthy. That's why it's important for me to be financially intelligent.
Yeah.
Be able to tell them how to manage their money, how to do things with their money, what to look for, be an example of it. And again, being physical, you have to be able to, your family's looking at you as that leader.
Yeah.
So if you're not physically fit, again, there's certain situations where you're not going to be. But if you can be, you should be. You should strive to be, so that your family looks at you with pride, with like, that's my dad. If you're a marathon runner, hell yeah, you're a marathon runner. That's my dad. My dad ran 20K.
Yeah, your kids will brag about you.
Yeah, my dad ran 20 miles, or my dad does marathons, or my dad bikes.
My dad's faster than your dad.
Yeah.
Like,
so as a dad, as a kid, you want to be able to brag on either how your dad looks or what he can do physically. Now, granted, if your dad is Elon Musk, my dad built a space station.
That's a big.
You know what I
flex,
mean?
too.
Like that's like, yeah.
He still needs, like, even like Zuckerberg was, still working out and getting in shape. So just because you have money doesn't mean you should let yourself go. And that's what I'm saying. You should try to strive to maximize each one of those pillars, and then you'll ultimately, the reason why I say that is because ultimately you will be resilient. Like if something happens to you, you'll be able to bounce back.
And to touch on that, going back to Elon, those kids don't care about space. They see their dad, and their dad is dad. He's not Elon. They don't care about no space station. He got 3 or 5. They don't care about that. They're looking, how is dad moving? Can dad play with me? Is dad active?
That's a
so
great
again,
point. Yeah.
That's why it's so important for us to be physically fit and active.
Yeah.
And their kids to see us being that. They don't care about the money. They don't care about actually anything outside the house besides what they can see. Now, as they get older, then but for the most part, they're looking at, my dad strong? Can my dad swim a lot? Can my dad run a lot? Can my dad walk a lot? Can he bike a lot? What is it that my dad does well physically?
Yeah.
And for some reason, it's like it's kind of like I want to say not prehistoric, but just a raw.
It's in our
raw
nature.
nature of wanting to see.
It's embedded. Yeah.
How strong your dad is, or what he can do physically.
Again, like it's the way I don't want my son to be the kid that's picked last.
Yeah.
It goes the same for him.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to see no kid wants to see their dad pick last.
Yeah.
They want to see their dad compete because there's a sense of pride that goes in there. So again, if you are listening to this, I want to reiterate, it's not about perfection. Jason and myself, we're not saying that you need to, have a 6-pack or be able to, lift or move a big rig from, 100 yards across the football field. We're not saying that. What we're saying is, are you strong enough to expend the energy that your kids require in order to be present? That's what we mean. shooting some hoops around, going swimming in the pool, like chilling with them. It's one thing, and I learned this the hard way. When I was in like my work mode, I used to work, and my son always used to be like, "Yo, Dad, can you come play with me and this and that?" So, and I in my head I was just like, I bought them the toys, and that's good enough, but that's not good enough.
Yeah.
What they want is for you to be present. So, if you're listening to this and you're a man, or a woman, but just particularly a father, and you're tired of being stuck, you're tired of feeling like you don't have any control. You look at your spiritual health, maybe you're wavering in that. You look at your financial health, maybe you're struggling in that. You look at your physical health, maybe you're not where you want to be, and mentally it's kind of draining on you. I am doing a live workshop in July. It's called the Absolute Responsibility Workshop, live workshop, and I'm going to teach you the core 4. I'm going to teach you the 3 buckets on how to take control of your life. During this workshop, we're going to have hot seat activities to where, the audience gets to talk about, where they're struggling, and I will help you build a system to make sure that you get to where you want to go. And it's all about the only option that we have in this life, Jason, is to take full responsibility for the things that we can control.
No, absolutely. I think it's sometimes it's hard to take those responsibilities, and that's where you just have to take a deep breath, and it goes back to spirituality, and pray about it.
Yeah.
Ask God for wisdom, whether it's your finances, your fitness, your spirituality. I'm sorry, what's the last bucket?
It's your mental health.
And mental.
Yeah.
That's why you have to go back to spirituality to help you stay grounded in all of those areas. And if you need work in all those areas, then you ask God for wisdom in all those areas. And it doesn't happen overnight, but if you're open to it, it happens.
Yeah.
And it will happen for you. If you need work physically, it happens. But you have to take the responsibility of getting up and doing the action. If you need help financially, you have to get up and take action. If you have to get up and take action for the things, you know what I mean? And like Dee said, it's not about attacking anybody or you have to be the best at it, but you do want to do your best. You want to strive for perfection, and perfection doesn't mean that you do it right. It means that you get up and you actually do it.
Yeah, you actually do it consistently. And you try to do it no matter how it looks. And some stuff might look like, oh, I'm not going to do well. Try it. You never
Keep
know.
trying it. You don't know. And as I'm talking to you guys out here, it's like I'm also telling myself these things. You know what I mean? Like,
facts.
I'm still learning a lot. And as we're having this podcast, I'm in my head, I'm going back and reiterating, oh, yeah, I could do this better. Oh, I could step this up better. You know what I mean? So it's also like I get to share my thoughts with you all out here, but also share my thoughts with Dee and bounce back ideas. But not only bounce back ideas, I'm also convicting myself of areas I need to be better in. You know what I mean? Like, all my areas are not perfect by no means. I'm strong in my faith. I'm strong in my fitness. I'm pretty well off in my finances, but I can always make improvement in my faith. I can read more. I can listen more. Finances, I can learn more. I can invest more. Fitness, I can do more.
Yeah.
I can do more aerobic or aesthetics or more things like that. And then mental health, I could actually be more open about how I'm mentally feeling. Hey, am I frustrated today? And acknowledge that I'm frustrated. I don't feel my best today. Can I acknowledge that I don't feel my best today? Because I think as men, like, we like to hold things in, at least for myself, that everything is okay. And there's times that everything isn't okay.
Not at all.
And I want to fix it. And sometimes I don't know how to fix it.
Yeah.
Or I don't want to talk about it. I just want to fix it, or I want to move on to the next thing. And so that's what I mean, like, having these conversations with you all out here allows me to go and look into myself. What can I work on? How can I be better mentally? How can I be better physically? How can I be better financially? How can I be better emotionally? Just all the 4 pillars that Dee really elaborates on. How can I be better at those? Because as I get better at those areas, I can, again, as a father, I can teach my sons. You know
what
I mean?
to do.
What
And then
to
how
do.
to since I feel this way and I dealt with it in this way, now when my kids come across this, I have something to go off of. And that's why it's like, put these pillars in front of you and know that they're not going to be perfected, but know where you're at right now. What season are you in? You might be in a strong spiritual season, but your finances are a little low. Okay, cool. Now you got something to work towards.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, none of these are going to be 1,000%. They're going to waver and things like that. But as long as they stay up and you have something to work on, you have a mission. So real quick, Jay, where can they find you, man? Where can they follow you? What you got going on?
Yeah, you can follow me at JLBestSR. That's my IG. You know, I've actually been able to partner up, be a part of a beautiful wellness fitness program with my brother Jonathan and Megan Majors. So Honor Culture. So we're excited about that. That's the next project.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, that's the next project. So again, kind of touch on the 4 pillars of what Dee's been talking about mental health, being physically fit, wellness. So that's what Honor Culture is about, in a sense. So that's the next project that we are working on. Blessed to be a part of that. Blessed to be here with Dee and really get to talk to the audience about, just what it is to be a man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because sometimes us as men, we go unheard. It's silent. You know what I mean? And sometimes when it's silent, it's a silent killer. Because you don't know what that person is thinking. You don't know what he's going through. On the outside, he might look perfect, might look put together. On the inside, he is a train wreck.
Yeah.
He doesn't know which way to go. He needs to hear that. He needs to hear from other men that, hey, everything isn't perfect, but we got you.
Yeah.
Everything isn't perfect. Here's kind of a blueprint of what to do. If you're having problems, here's the pillars that we live by when we're going through things. And again, those are just foundations to help you. Instead of you having a whole bunch of noise, this allows you to narrow it in and focus on those and build those individual ones up. So those 4 pillars that Dee has that he talks about to you guys on a weekly basis is so important, because he's bringing different people, different avenues that's going to, hindsight, tell you the same thing, but different perspectives of it. And when you have different perspectives of different people on the same thing, now you get your pie, but now you know how to take different slices out of that pie.
That's a great analogy.
From different people.
Yeah.
It's not just, he has entrepreneurs. No, he has entrepreneurs, then he had a business person, then he had this person, then he had this person, but we're still talking about those 4 pillars.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think as dads, you have to be willing to learn. A lot of us are very prideful. We have to be willing to put down our pride and to learn from others. And that's one thing. Sometimes you might say, I'm not prideful, but then what's your being? How are you being? Are you willing to actually learn from somebody else? And if you can say no to one of those things, then you are prideful.
Yeah.
It's just like, listen to this. If you don't take those 4 pillars and actually try to apply them, then that's a part of you being
pride,
being prideful. You know what I mean? So just be aware of that, because it's going to carry over into your everyday life. It's going to carry over into your family. It's going to carry over into those 4 pillars. And when you become aware of those 4 pillars, as you go along in life and you start to waver, those 4 pillars are going to kind of come back in your head for you to kind of like either
find your way back.
Yeah.
Facts.
It gives you a nice roadmap to go to. But yeah, so wrapping it up for Dee. Again, man, just thank you so much for having me on here. Looking forward to more conversations. I'll see Dee on Wednesday. We got my little gym. Again, I'm at JLBestSR. That's my IG.
Does Honor Culture have an IG yet?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just Honor Culture. That's the name of it.
Okay,
so if you go on IG, Honor Culture, you'll see Meg and Jay on there, the different apparels. they've got some exciting things coming up. I'm not at liberty to say at the moment, but yeah, a lot of exciting things coming up. So again, just even being here and being able to talk about this ties into the wellness and fitness that we're moving into. So again, it's just an amazing experience to be here with you.
Thank you, man. And I got to ask you something real quick is, are you still personal training? Like, can they reach, is that still a thing or?
Yes and no.
Okay.
I don't want to make the commitment quite yet out here. I'm not sure where we're going to be actually located, but I would definitely take on some questions if people have questions to ask. I don't mind. Again, I don't mind helping. If it's something I love to do, and if you have a few questions, I don't mind answering those few questions. And like I said, just stay tuned. Follow Dee, myself, Honor Culture, and that way you can always stay in the loop of what's going on. You know what I mean? Always stay in the loop. And again, it's about community. You don't have to stay tapped in with me or Honor Culture or Dee. This is a community. So everybody plays a part. And that's what it means will allow you to grow, is you have that safe space. And having a safe space is a beautiful thing, is having that safe space of men and women striving to be better. So again, Dee, just thank you so much for having me on today, man. It's been such a blessing.
Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate you. All right, y'all. Thank y'all so much. Excuse me. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Remember, the Absolute Responsibility Live Workshop this month in July. Make sure you visit the website, www.deehankins.com. Reserve your seats. It's only available for 50 people. First 50 people that come in, again, to take full responsibility for your life and have amazing things happen. Please like and subscribe if you heard something in this podcast that you really enjoyed, that really made sense to you. Shout out to the dads out there, man. You are needed. You are loved. And, we got your back. Jason did a great job representing for dads today. I really appreciate that. Shout out to my kids and my wife and all my friends and family at home. Guys, once again, please never forget, life throws curveballs, but even curveballs can be hit for home runs.
Those curveballs.